Welcome, everyone. My name is Alan, and I am from Liverpool, but I live in London, and I've been guiding for the last oh, 10 years. So this is what I do for a living. So this morning, I was doing Change of the Guards, where we got to meet very, very briefly Prince Andrew. So great. Now, we're going to start now, okay?
All
So
right.
welcome to the City of London. So right now, I know you can't see it with my background, but we are inside the City of London. Now, the City of London, where I'm standing, is 2,000 years old. This is the Roman part of London. So we're standing in the ancient part. Now, I know it's really hard to believe with this modern day building right behind me. But the reason I'm standing here is because the start of a Christmas carol takes place right across the road at St. Paul's. So at the start of a Christmas carol, can everyone hear me okay?
Yep,
Yeah, perfect. Good. So at the start of a Christmas carol, we are told that Marley is dead as a doornail. We're talking about the opening monologue. We're talking about when Charles Dickens quotes Hamlet, Shakespeare, of course, and how we're told that the ghost of Hamlet's father is dead at the start. And that if he wasn't alive, or if he was alive, it would be an unremarkable approach. An unremarkable approach as if a man is walking down the churchyard of St. Paul's Cathedral,
yes,
which is right here. So, St. Paul's Cathedral is just short of 1,000 years old. Now, very, very importantly, this cathedral, this dates back to the 1600s. This was made by a man called Sir Christopher Wren. So, Sir Christopher Wren, he basically built the whole of London after the Great Fire of London. Now, the very, very important thing about St. Paul's, it is at the highest point of London. So we're now standing at the highest point of London. This building here, this is the Church of America. So this is one of our main American churches in and around London. Now, if we loop around, we will see a very modern day building. Nothing exciting about it, just shops. But it does have, without a doubt, the best view of St. Paul's. Now, if you like Harry Potter, this is also known as Hogwarts. So not only is it a Christmas carol, it is Hogwarts. Now, we're going to walk through the modern day shopping centre, and we're going to head into the real part of London, in to the part where a Christmas carol mostly takes place. So we know that Tiny Tim, he lives in a place called Camden. Now, let me just turn around so you can actually see me. So Camden, from where we are standing, is around 3 miles away. So it is quite a far area. Now, Camden today is a very trendy area. It's a very up and coming area. But during the life of Charles Dickens, it was full of slums. It was full of ghettos. It's actually where Charles Dickens lived for a short point of his life. Now, Charles Dickens was very, very aware of the suffering of the poor people. He was actually horrified by how the poor children and the poor women were treated in 1800s. So he decided that he wanted to change things. He decided the best way to go about it wouldn't be to lecture. It would be to tell a story about a man called Scrooge, to tell the story of how, in a way, money can corrupt, and how, without our love for people and our connection with people, we are truly, truly lost. So A Christmas Carol was written in only 6 weeks. It was released on the 19th of December, 1843. It was sold out by Christmas Eve. In 1 week alone, Christmas Carol sold over 6,000 copies. A Christmas Carol is one of the most popular novels ever to be made in movies, TV shows, ballets, opera. So there is over 100 different movies of A Christmas Carol, 2 ballets and 4 operas. Now, just slightly moving on from Charles Dickens, we're going to show you this very famous Disney character. So this man is called John Smith. You might be familiar with a man called John Smith from a Disney movie. Do you know what movie it might be?
Pocahontas, if no one else
Nice
is
and
going
easy.
to...
Yep, so this is actually the real Captain John Smith. So obviously Jamestown met Pocahontas and they came to England. This, the Bow Church, is where Pocahontas went to, have a look at this, went to her services. But this is actually the church of Pocahontas and Captain John Smith. How cool is that? Now, what's even better about it, just to give you a bit more of a Christmas feel, you can see the bells of Christmas. Now, we are going to go down this alleyway. We're going to see one of the original streets of London. So have a look at this as we zoom around. You'll notice with a lot of original roads of London, they're small. They are very, very small. When Charles Dickens was writing A Christmas Carol, he would walk these streets here. He would walk these streets every night when all the sober people have gone to sleep. These are the roads that feature in A Christmas Carol. These are the roads that are very, very important to Victorian London and to the Romans. Ignore correct, but have a look at this. So these are the original roads and streets of London. Now, do you see the sidewalk here? You see from here to my finger this side, to my finger that side. This is an original Roman road. Okay, so this is one of the original Roman roads. How do we know? You can see how small it is. So we are in the ancient part of London. Now, as you come up the street, we're going to head down a place called Cheapside, and we're going to head into the financial district of the United Kingdom. You, in America, you'd think of it as Wall Street. We call this area the city. This is where the stock markets come from. This is 0-0 on all timelines, okay? So, again, we are standing in the ancient part. The buildings that we are going to see in a moment, the buildings that we're going to go around, they are surrounded by the modern day buildings as well. So, when we get around the corner, you'll see what I mean. Now, have a look at this very quickly. Now, do you see this bollard? Can you see it's white, red, and black? Now, there is many of these in and around the city of London. The reason they are here is because you are looking at the old Roman wall. This indicates where the ancient Roman wall would have been. So this is where the border between the city of London and the outer London. Nowadays, it's all known as the city of London. And look at this. So you can see, we'll get a close one in a minute. See right here, it does say the City of London. So I'm going to take you down to the end of the road, and we're going to go and really start our Christmas Carol walking tour. Now, once you get to the end, you'll see what I mean about the difference between the old and the new. So you just give me a second while I just cross over this main road. Now, as I said, we know Charles Dickens used to walk the streets. The area we are in is also famous for Oliver Twist, Pickwick Papers, and Great Expectations. All this area, this is the real money part. This is the real finance part. This is where all the rich have always been. When you leave the square mile, you enter into arguably the poorest area within the British Empire. So if you think of Jack the Ripper, that is the end of this road here. Now, as we walk down this road, you'll see this modern day building in front of you. This one right here. Now this is called Poultry because at one point it was a meat market. Unfortunately, the meat market has now gone and this modern building has taken its place. Now this modern day building doesn't look like anything until you get to the end of the road and you'll see it is actually a ship. The building just here, this is actually designed to look like a ship. We talk about London's rich shipping industry. And more importantly, it will connect us to the real financial part, the Bank of England, the Royal Exchange, and the home of the Lord Mayor. So, let's turn this corner, have a look at the view. So you can start to see the modern day buildings fast approaching. Now these modern day buildings, they've only been here for 20 years. A second. I'm going to turn my phone 1 second. Oh, the line, is this better for you? Because if I do it that way, it's not horizontal for me. Can you see okay?
Yeah, this works for me.
Yeah, better for you?
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Do let me know anytime you can't see anything. There, we're just falling down 1 second, just because I've taken it off the original setting. 1 second, let me refix it. There you go. So, now, do you see what I'm talking about? Can you see the modern day and the original? Now, if you look straight ahead of you at this building here, this is Mansion House. Now, Mansion House actually does feature in A Christmas Carol. This is where the awful Lord Mayor has his Christmas dinner. The Lord Mayor orders his 50 chefs and butlers to make Christmas how it should be. Now, this is completely opposite to Scrooge's Christmas. All the trimmings, all the gifts come from this building here. Now you can see, and we'll see such a better one in a moment, you can see a Christmas tree. We are going to finish next to a beautiful Christmas tree. Now, when we think of Christmas, we think of a lot of Victorian Christmases. So we think of Goodwill for All. We think of Christmas trees. We think of Christmas cards, and of course, A Christmas Carol. But did you know that a lot of the Christmas editions that we have are not from England? They were not invented by Charles Dickens. They actually come from Germany. So the Christmas tree was first brought over by Queen Charlotte in 1800s. The first Christmas card was sent by Queen Victoria in 1843, the same year as A Christmas Carol. Now, if we look across the road, you will see the Royal Exchange. We're going to take a closer walk to it in a minute, but this is probably the most important building in and around the city of London. Do you see this big dominating building? This here is, of course, the Bank of England. So this building, all the way down, is the world's first purpose-built bank. Now, as we cross over the road, you'll see this building here. This is St. Mary's. This is the home of Amazing Grace. So if you know the song Amazing Grace, it comes from just across the road here. Now we are going to cross over and, be careful, we're going to step into a bit more Charles Dickens. We're going to step into A Christmas Carol, and we, the bike goes past, we are going to walk in the footsteps of the Ghost of Christmas Future and, of course, Scrooge. Now, the Ghost of Christmas Future, he takes he takes Scrooge to the future to see what happens after he dies. He takes Scrooge to the steps of the Royal Exchange, where Scrooge can hear two men talking about a man who died the night before. The two men quote and say it will be a cheap funeral, and they know no one who will attend the funeral. All that takes place in the books where we are standing. Now, if you read the books, it does not say the Royal Exchange. It actually says the Change. So, in the Victorian times, this was known as the Change. This building, this dates back to 1842. So it was here during the time of Charles Dickens. However, the Royal Exchange dates back to the 1500s. It dates back to Queen Elizabeth I. However, what is the Royal Exchange? It's really easy. You would call it a shopping mall. That is England's first ever shopping mall. Isn't that amazing? Literally where you go shopping. Now, why is it important today? This is where the king is proclamated. So, when King Charles became King of England after his mother died, the king, the Privy Council, all stood on these steps here and declared the King of England, Charles III, King of England. Now, this building might be familiar with you if you know the movie Mary Poppins. Do we all know Mary Poppins? This is the Bank of the Banks. So let's go fly a kite. Takes place here. If you know the modern day Mary Poppins Returns, this is the final scene as well. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to walk up Cornhill and we're going to enter into Scrooge's counting house. So, if you look behind me, you can see new and modern. It's very interesting that there's lots of modern day buildings in and around the city of London. Now, we'll see them a lot more closer in a minute, but there is a particular reason for these modern day buildings being in the area we are in. Reason being, St. Paul's. St. Paul's Cathedral, as I said, is at the highest point of London. Now, St. Paul's Cathedral, it has to be seen from every angle of London. So, and that's why you have these huge skyscrapers. And that's why these skyscrapers don't look like any other skyscraper these have been made to look like microphones, to look like a cheese grater, to look like a pickle or a bullet. So St. Paul's can be seen from every point of London. Now, you give me one more minute and we're going to head down Cornhill and we're going to head into the heart of a Christmas carol. Now, this road that we are on is called Cornhill. We know that a Christmas carol takes place on Cornhill. Why? When the clerk, Crouchet, leaves the counting house on Christmas Eve, he slides down this road that we are on 20 times in celebration of Christmas Eve. We also know that Cornwall fits into a Christmas carol because of the description of this area. So, 1 second. We know that Scrooge's counting house is underneath an ancient tower. We know it is underneath a Gothic tower. This tower creeps down over Scrooge. So the building you are looking at is St. Michael's. It's pretty cool, isn't it? This was made by Sir Christopher Wren. Of course, Sir Christopher Wren, he made St. Paul's Cathedral. So if we look at St. Michael's and we cross over the road, we will head to a little alleyway, look at this, called Newman's Court. Now, if you walk down, look at this, so cool, isn't it? If you walk down Newman's Court, you come to Scrooge's counting house. This is where we're first introduced to the clerk, Bob Crouchet. This is where we're first introduced to Scrooge's nephew, Fred, where he refuses to come down to Christmas. How cool this is. It's eerie, isn't it? And you can just about see through the modern day building the Gothic looking tower paging down at Scrooge's counting house. Now again, these are not filming locations. These are the real inspirations. So this is actually where it takes place. So we know on Christmas Eve, we know he leaves here. We know he walks down this road. He goes off to have his evening meal and to read his paper. We also know that a day after Christmas Day, Scrooge arrives early. He beats Bob into the office. He arrives 18 minutes before Bob Crouchet, where he offers him a pay rise. Now, sorry, I'm just checking for the road to make sure it's all safe to cross over. Now, these are the best places to go to now, okay? These are the real alleyways, the real passageways that we know Charles Dickens would have walked down. We know Scrooge would have came down this alleyway, and we know he would have had his food just around the corner. Now, before we head to it, if you look straight ahead, are you ready? You can see the Jamaican Wine House. This is the first ever coffee shop in the United Kingdom. So we would have called it a coffee house. So think of Starbucks. This is where you come to debate the world. Now, coming back down, coming around, we're going to head a melancholy bar to have some sad, lonely food. Now, we have two options of where Scrooge goes for food on Christmas Eve. The first one is down this dark little alleyway. Look at this. Now, some people think it is this building called Simpsons where Scrooge goes. However, it is not. It is actually what we just walked past. So back down here. So cool, isn't it? It is actually this building here. Now, if you look in, can you see the Victorian tray set in this? Again, the Victorian train set. This building is amazing. So we know it as the George and Culture. However, there's been a bar on this spot for over 1,000 years. During the time of Scrooge, during the time of Charles Dickens, it would have had a different name. It would have been called, one second, sorry, excuse me. Sorry. So this was and is Charles Dickens's and Scrooge's favourite chop house. You can actually see here it says Thomas's. So, sorry, excuse me. Dave can bring you in because it's amazing. So if the signal goes off, do let me know. But I ask special permission to bring you inside of this Victorian chop house. So this is literally where Scrooge sits. Now, more importantly, this is where Charles Dickens' family do this day have their Christmas dinner. Here's how amazing is this. So, every December, Charles Dickens' family, they enter in to this bar where they will have their average Christmas dinner. Now, unfortunately for us, it is not this week. It is next week. It is this time next week where Charles Dickens' family will be having their Christmas dinner. They have been having their Christmas dinner inside here since 1950. Also, how cool is this? Also, where the Pickwick Papers are based. It's also where the official Charles Dickens fan club is based inside England. Look at this. I love these dark alleyways. Now, obviously, A Christmas Carol dates back to 1843. You can see with these buildings, with these alleyways, they haven't really changed, have they? Look at this. I'm going to walk down it. You can actually see it's only big enough for one person at a time. So I'm going to just speech past this man after you, mate. You see what I mean? So small. Now, one thing that unfortunately doesn't exist anymore, but it's really, really cool, is just at the end here, you will see the Cross Keys Inn. It's actually Amazon now. This is where Shakespeare used to perform. This is where the King's Men, also known as the Chamberlain Man, used to use their theatre right here. Why is this exciting? Because of Romeo and Juliet. We believe Romeo and Juliet was first performed right in front of you. How cool is that? So not only is it Charles Dickens, it's Shakespeare. So lots and lots of old ancient stuff in and around here. Now we are going to go down another little alleyway. We are heading in to the gardens, the church of St. Michael's, the Gothic looking windows and the ancient tower overlooking Scrooge's counting house. Now, this is not where Scrooge sees his grave. It's just around the corner. How cool is this? Now, if we go this way, we go up these steps, we go down here, we are heading to St. Peter's. St. Peter's of Thornhill. Now, St. Peter's, this is the ending of Scrooge. Everything that Scrooge has been, could have been, let these people walk past, as you can see. Oh, look at this. Very busy. And we're just letting the trolley go past. Look at this. How cool is this? So we are, sorry guys, oh, after you. I think we're all going the same way, aren't we? Sorry, excuse me. So, how fun's that? I love it when it's crazy because we want to come here. Now, have a look at this. You can see it says the counting house. Of course, this is not the office of Scrooge, but it takes its name from, of course, A Christmas Carol. Now, we are told in A Christmas Carol, when the ghost of Christmas future takes Charles Dickens, why do I say Charles Dickens? Takes Scrooge to a graveyard. It is built around houses. It is hidden in and around houses. So have a look at this. Just look at that. Look at those skyscrapers. And we know right here, it references Charles Dickens. Now, for us, we know that Scrooge enters in this graveyard here. He asks Ghost, is my future what it's meant to be? Is it locked or can I change it? The Ghost of Christmas Future, he points directly to a grave. Scrooge wipes it off and we see the name of Scrooge. Unfortunately, or fortunately for Scrooge today, we cannot see his name any longer. How cool is this? Now, after having his heart broken here, after seeing what's to become of him from his past, his present, and his future, Scrooge redeems himself and he wakes up at home. Now, his home is only a short walk away from here, around 3 blocks away. So, everything that we know about Scrooge, his life, his attitude, all takes place within several blocks. He never leaves this area. He doesn't venture out. Everything is, of course, walking distance. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to jump slightly to the end of the book, and then we'll go to Scrooge's house because this place is amazing. And this is what you want to see. So, we're just going to cross over the road, so give me a second, and we're going to have a look at this place here. So, have a look at this. This here is Leadenhall Market. This now is a market for food, bars, hairdressers, you name it, everything takes place inside here. We are actually standing pretty much in the center of London, okay? So when we get to the Christmas tree, you will be in the center of London. Now, moving away from the Christmas Carol, do we all know Harry Potter? Yeah, if you know Harry Potter, you'll be very familiar with this area. This here is the Leaky Cauldron from Harry Potter. This. Now, as we move around, I do want to point out this. Do you see these? Why are they here? This was a meat market. All the meat used to hang off these bars here. Now, on a Christmas day, when Charles wakes up, when Scrooge wakes up, and he sees a young boy, he says, fetch me the biggest turkey. The young boy comes to where we are standing, and he buys the biggest turkey possible, and is sent across to Tiny Tim. Now, did you know this? Prior to Prince Albert, prior to A Christmas Carol, turkey is not what you have on Christmas. I'm going to move out so you can hear me a bit better because it's very noisy here. So, turkey was brought over by Prince Albert. Turkey was for the rich people. Goose was for the poor people. You would join a goose club. Every month you would pay for your Christmas dinner. The goose will be brought and slaughtered inside this building here. It's beautiful, isn't it? So this market dates back to the 1400s. However, what we're looking at dates back to the 1800s. Now, just before we finish, we're going to take a walk to Scrooge's house. So follow me and we'll see where Scrooge lived. Now, we know that Scrooge lives only 2 blocks or 2 streets away from the market here. He states a young lad 2 doors down, 2 streets down. The young boy comes here and buys the biggest turkey they have. Now, this. So this here is Lime Street. We know Scrooge, Fred, and the young boy would have walked down this road here, heading to either the counting house or the home of Scrooge. Now, look, I don't know if you can see this, so let's see if we can look it up. Look at that skyscraper. Can you all see that? This here is called the Walkie-Talkie Building. It has been shaped to look like an old-fashioned microphone. Now, just behind it, you can see a small tower. See that tower? That is a Shard. From where we're standing, it looks very, very small. However, that tower is the biggest building in Europe. So, new and old mixed together. Now, we're just going to cross over the road and we're just going to take you to a dark alleyway where Scrooge meets Marley for the very first time, where the ghosts arrive at the strike of 1 a.m. So give me a second as we cross over this main road. So, just one more look at new and old mixed together before we wrap it up. And that is a cheese grater. If you know Jack the Ripper does his murders in real life at the end of this road here. Then again, all the way up, we have the walkie-talkie. If we go down this little road, we will head to the home of Scrooge. Now, in the books, it says that Scrooge lives up an alleyway in a house that has no reason to be here. In a dark, dingy alleyway. The Scrooge uses his hands on the walls to make his way around to his home. So Barnett Street, this is the home of Scrooge, right here. This is where he enters, where he heads to the doorknob. And of course, he sees the face of Marley here. He goes in and he is visited by Marley in his chains. And of course, he meets the first of his three ghosts inside this building here. Now, we're also told that the home has big black gates, which is right here. Look how quiet it is. Look how peaceful it is. We know he opens the window and he asks, what day is it? Christmas Day. Scrooge says it all happens in one evening. We know he leaves here, he heads down this passageway here, going down to the end, turning left, heading to the counting house on what we call Boxing Day. So that is our short walk around Charles Dickens and, of course, A Christmas Carol. Now, does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any thoughts? I'm very happy to answer as many as you want.
Well, I'm guessing the Goose Club, I think they have that in Conan Doyle's story, right? Or at
Yes.
least that concept.
Yes, because this is literally, if I come back out again, it all would have been literally, because we are in the city of London. Let me just zoom around. The market is here, and I know you can't see it, but at the end of this road here, that is the River Thames. That is the Tower of London. So a lot of animals were brought off the River Thames and slaughtered just at the end of this road here. The only reason we have turkey was because it was a rich thing. So the rich people, obviously, the king, the queen, etc., Prince Albert, Queen Victoria, it fizzled down, eventually hitting the poor people. That's why he always mentions turkey. But yeah, if you're happy, if you have any more questions, I'm here. If not, Merry Christmas.
Thank you. This was great. And I'll reach out if anyone has any questions.
Yes. Amazing.
Thanks for joining us.
No, my pleasure. Thank you. Thank you.